Testing.
I feel like the way I'm sitting is making me laugh.
Yeah, freaking
Get him Teta's taxi. Okay.
Oh man.
Testing. Testing.
Mhm.
Can you guys introduce yourselves?
I'm Joey,
And I am Julian Babish,
What are your ages?
24.
23,
Which makes you Gen Z?
Yes.
What's your relation to each other?
brothers.
Brothers.
Okay, can I ask you guys some questions?
Yes,
Of course.
we'd love to answer them.
Okay. Can you tell me about your cultural background and how it's influenced your identity?
Yeah, so we are Palestinian. We were born though in America, so we are Palestinian American. Um, we love our culture. We've been to Bethlehem plenty of times. That's where my parents are from. We hold our tradition, we hold our culture, and we hope to pass it down to our future families. You got anything to say?
Yeah, very family oriented. Family always comes first. I mean, we grew up we grew up here in America, so a lot of our friends and all that kind of influenced who we are as we grew up as well. But we always held that Middle Eastern culture with us and try to spread it as much as possible.
Would you say your cultural values differ at all from your parents or previous generations of your family?
Most definitely, I think just because we're born here, it's a little bit different.
Mhm.
I feel like because well, my dad kind of grew up over there, so he's more. I guess like he just hasn't seen as much. You know what I'm saying? He like that's all he knows basically. Until he moved here, he saw some differences. You know, he adapted to the area. I guess that's how we are. We're very adaptive to how or where we're from, where we grew up, but also just held our cultural values.
What did you want to be when you were younger?
Hmm.
Both of you.
I mean, we both grew up playing basketball. I think we both wanted to be
Yeah.
basketball players. NBA, that was the dream. That was the goal.
Would you say your parents would be supportive of that dream?
Definitely.
Most definitely, yeah.
Mhm.
Parents always let us they helped us as much as they can. I mean, they let us join teams. You know, always came to our games, that kind of thing. But yeah, they were always just like, whatever you want to do, we'll always support you, that kind of thing.
So you would say you didn't experience any pressures in a certain career path necessarily?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
My grandma.
Maybe grandma. She
Grandma
always
lives
wanted.
with us.
Yeah,
Grandma lives with us.
yeah. We live with our grandma. She always wanted us to go to school, get a degree. Um,
Doctor, lawyer, maybe.
Doctor, lawyer. Yeah. I mean, it's the American dream. Um, my grandma definitely holds more um, traditions and values than my parents. My parents are more open minded because my mom, she came here when she was 5, so she's kind of on the same boat as we are, with like relationships, with everything in general,
Schooling.
schooling.
She just kind of knows how it goes out here. I guess like American culture is a little bit different than Middle Eastern culture.
Yeah, it's more free to
Yeah.
do what you want to do rather than what your parents essentially want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you felt that even though you guys are different generations and you come from pretty traditional family slash cultural values,
Yeah.
you're pretty aligned with your parents in that aspect.
Yeah. But in a way, as we grew up, I feel like we're still kind of doing that like Arab tradition. Like usually, like your family kind of has a business, or like your dad did something, your mom did something. You kind of follow into their path.
Yeah.
My dad had restaurants. We still have the restaurants, and we're hopefully working our way up to take over for them. And that's how a lot of the businesses are over there, back in Palestine as well.
That is honestly perfect because that segues right into my next questions. Can you share any specific cultural traditions or practices that you might have adopted from your family, from their cultural norms?
Like that, that they like relate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely like relationship wise, like Joey and I, we both definitely want to be married. We definitely want to have a family. Um,
Traditional route, I guess.
Traditional route, yeah, just being close to family.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not always like said, it's not like set in our minds, but just the way we grow up, the way like we see the relationships between our family, our cousins, like whole family, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. It's like everything's just so like tight knit, close. Just look out for each other, take care for each other.
Yeah. And it's usually like the masculine roles are very strong and
Mhm.
feminine roles are very strong. Like as
Very,
men, we want to go out there and we want to work for, the women that are in our lives and we want to support them and they support us evenly with the same amount of effort like in the household. Um I know things are different nowadays
especially out here.
and we
I was
respect
gonna
that.
say,
Yeah, we definitely respect that, but like how we grew up, my mom was in our life every second of the day. Like if we needed something, my mom was there. And truly, like I believe we had the best childhood because of that, and we had so much support, and you know, it was the best. It was the best.
Mm.
so in an age where, feminism is a huge movement, closing the job wages is such a huge movement, you guys are actually leaning towards more traditional values then over what mostly our generation would agree that it or argue that, women should be in the workforce and we don't have these, traditional masculine,
Yeah,
feminine roles anymore. Even though you grew up kind of in the same generation, you guys hold other.
Yeah, in a way, I mean, like all power to women. I think the way that we kind of think now, my brother and I, is up until we start wanting to have a family, like we wouldn't mind our wife working, until that family is eventually set in stone or eventually started, and then once that happens, like we would like to keep like the our wives at home, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids growing up, that kind of thing, while we're out and about, trying to do what we can for the house.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. How would you define your self identity, I guess, outside of your cultural value? And what aspects of yourself do you think is the most important and most central to that identity?
Mm. Self identity, as in like how we think of ourselves, kind of thing.
What makes you you? What traits make you
Uh,
you? What traits you
I
prioritize,
believe we're both
respect?
very hardworking.
yeah.
Played sports our whole life, so we love that team aspect. But like, just we wanna put ourselves in good situations at all times. We never really fall for what's the word, like peer pressure or like like we're our own selves.
You have a strong sense of
We
self.
have a strong sense of self,
That's a
and
good way to put it.
yeah, because of how we were raised, we're pretty confident in who we are, and we walk around like we are confident, and we hold strong morals, and yeah,
Um, Earlier you guys were talking about how you wanted to be basketball players when you're younger.
Mm-hmm.
How does that look different for you now? Like, what are your aspirations now?
Oh,
What's
okay.
changed your mind?
still gonna be that.
Still working towards it.
Things change definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, as a youngin, I never thought about my future. And I thought it was a blessing, because like I
It
would wake up
is.
every day and I would just play,
Yeah.
and I love that.
School, go
And I
home.
never thought about like my career. So, and because my father owns a restaurant and we work there with him, um, we love being there. And I feel like we relate to my parents more because we do spend that with them. So, we're very grateful for that
Yeah,
opportunity.
becoming more like understanding of them, and they're kind of becoming more understanding of us. But I mean, just as we grew older, like just basketball in general, like competition got better, and we just didn't have as much time for it as well. Gonna spend so much time trying to get better, and just like a sense of reality kind of hit. And I think I didn't really start thinking about a career and future until probably like senior year, when everything else was starting to hit. Like going to college, that kind of thing, what I really wanted to do. But yeah, just eventually started working with Pops, and we realized that like that's what we wanted, just like carry his legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like you're calling all along.
exactly.
Oh, that's sweet.
Dad's a legend.
Yeah, I don't know. You will.
How do you think our societal norms or expectations shape our understanding of self identity?
Ooh,
So society's norms, you know.
guess is
Does it change the way you move, the way you think?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it really changes how we think,
Yeah, I mean,
but I feel like for everyone else, like I think a big part of it has to do with like social media nowadays, like just like people even having like their own kind of confidence, they like look at people online, all this stuff, kind of like kind of messes up their way of thinking.
Dad,
Should we pause?
It's
let,
okay.
It's okay. Let's just do that question again.
let. I'm getting interviewed right now. Give me. No, I didn't change the password.
We should close the door.
Julian. Julian.
That question again. Should you
Yeah.
see what time it is so you know?
Make a mark.
11 minutes. We're halfway.
This is so fun.
This is half time. Shit, I don't have that many questions left.
It's okay.
How do you think society's norms or expectations shape our understanding of our self identity?
Mm.
So, like, for example, our generation, I feel like in the past, it was, for example, like baby boomers, even millennials, I would say early millennials, buying a home, it was within their reach, within their grasp, Now with us, I feel like our generation is very much work hard, grind culture, except no matter how hard we work, it feels like we're just never going to obtain what previous generations had.
Yeah.
So we, as a society, we put so much stress on ourselves to be better, be exemplary, and it doesn't really pay off the way it used to, like it did in the past.
Mm.
Do you think any kind of norms like that or expectations, social media?
Yeah, I guess like times have definitely changed. Back then. I mean, even now, like, but I guess even more back then was like, you work hard, you keep grinding, and then like, I think there's like different levels to everything. Like you work for a bit, you get your house, blah blah blah, retire. Retirement is always like 65. I think nowadays people see a lot of like social media, like all these people. I mean, like all like congratulations to them, but like they're all like very successful at a young age, and people think that like that's what I got to do, that's what I got to do, and it kind of messes with their head. But like it takes longer than that usually anyway. Especially nowadays, everything's a lot more expensive, and like yeah, times have changed. Houses are going crazy, especially here in California. But I think yeah, I think the big part of it is like the social media aspect to it. People have they just like really want to retire early. People are in a way kind of getting lazier, but like
Why do you think lazier? I have my own opinion as to
yeah,
why, but what's your opinion?
I just think people don't really like the people. A lot of people have like goals and dreams in mind, but they're just not really down to put the effort in. And going back to social media, they see like people like their age like already having all these things, and like a lot of like luck is involved, but they've also worked very hard for that too. It's just different for everybody, and like it may take longer, it may be shorter for some people, but you just got to keep hustling, keep grinding, and it'll come.
Yeah, I think I want to add to what Joey was saying. Like kids nowadays, they're not lazier. They just don't want to do the jobs that people in the past used to want to do. And like it obviously that norm hasn't changed like the way we live our lives because we are doing and we are working technically like a minimum wage job at a restaurant, Obviously we're doesn't matter that. But like we're working in a restaurant, not a lot of kids these days want to participate in working in a restaurant and putting on a uniform and like working for someone else and like following their rules and like respecting. I feel like respect is kind of lost nowadays. The only thing that people like earn respect is by the things that they own. You know,
Like everyone wants the glamour, everyone wants the credit,
exactly.
but without putting in the work for
Yeah.
it. Like you didn't earn it. You just
But
kind of want to shoot
Yeah.
to the top kind of
yeah,
mentality.
I feel like that's like the bubble we're living in.
Mhm.
Especially living in Los Angeles and
Mhm.
in California in general. I don't know how it is technically in like other states, but like the way we
We see it.
perceive, yeah, the way we perceive our lives, which is our truth and our reality, is yeah. People want the glamour. People want to show what they own, and they believe that that is like
That's success.
that's success and that's life. But
Yeah.
really, we understand that life is about purpose, and like my family instilled in us that our family is our number one purpose, and we have to do everything for them.
There's a lot more ways to be successful than just making a lot of money. Yeah. I think success is like defined. Like I think everyone has like an individual definition of success.
That's my like second to last question.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
But I was going to say my 2 cents on, our generational difference. It's I feel very much so now. I feel like even 10 years ago there was such a stronger emphasis on education, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know it's not you don't need a degree to succeed, especially in this day and age, but I feel that exactly where that laziness stems from. I mean, not all of us cannot have a degree and be successful. Like some of us have to go to school.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's kind of a cop out now. You don't need to go to school, and now nobody wants to do school. And the wave is, and it's actually really scary. I interviewed my sister. Primarily, I want to say like 90% of kids nowadays, something to do with social media.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna be the next YouTuber, new influencer,
adding
whatever. And I even asked her the questions during our interview. I said, "Do you feel that having those kinds of aspirations where you don't prioritize an education, and that's okay. Education or college route is not sometimes for everybody, but do you think having those specific, aspirations, do you think that lowers your standard for how you're doing in school, how you
Yeah.
perceive an education, what you want to do with one, because she's still in school,
Yeah.
and she had to agree to some extent, yes, because no one's really prioritizing quality of education anymore, which I feel like is, it kind of adds to that like generational like disconnect. I feel like especially our generation with older generations, where yeah, statistically too, it's elementary schools nowadays. It's the scores are so low just nationally. I'm low right now actually.
Yeah.
So, you know, you add two and two
Also,
together.
also to play like devil's advocate for what you're saying, like
Mm,
our aspirations as kids were to be NBA players. So like
mhm.
we spent a lot of our time playing basketball outside. We didn't truly. I didn't read anything growing up, which is like another one of my biggest regrets. But like, let's say like these kids, they get to our age. I don't think their aspirations, like if they hadn't had that success growing up, like that, they're gonna be influencers.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll
Mhm.
fade away and like they'll
Yeah.
tapping back into reality.
Mhm.
And I think like I just think there's a lot like more different jobs and careers nowadays too
Mhm.
that are like completely different than the generation before us. I feel like a lot of people in the generation before us wanted to be like doctors, that kind of thing. So school is very necessary, which it still is for certain jobs. And I'm not saying school isn't important; it definitely is. But I think nowadays there's just a lot like different type of opportunities.
There are
Yeah.
ways to do it without having to go down
Exactly.
like the
Could be good
orthodox
or
way.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay. Thank you for your 2 cents.
Of course.
What are your guys' primary motivators for your career? And do you think different generations have had different motivators? Do you think that's changed at all?
You want to go first?
I think motivation is like always just that freedom to be able to like live your life, spend the time or spend your time the way you want it, and to be able to take care of your family's needs, friends' needs, your personal needs. Um, just to get to like your own definition of success. like just like being eager to get to that, I guess.
Yeah, I think what motivates me is like, everything like my father did. He came to the country with zero to nothing, and he made a name for himself, and he worked so hard to achieve it. And like we understand that success isn't made overnight. It's like if you've read the book, The Alchemist, that book really teaches you like the whole process of like he wanted all these things, and when he finally got them, like the most important thing was like the story in between,
The journey.
the journey, the
Mhm.
journey. So there's never really like where you're never gonna reach where you want to reach. You just have to keep striving for growth and success, and yeah, you'll be all right.
Mm.
I think it's really refreshing to hear from you guys, and also just it's so telling your upbringing, and your environment and your cultural values, how it all ties in your answers, because the answers you both gave are very much a collective mindset. You're doing it for the family, you're doing it for your friends. It's not an individualistic mindset, which I feel is the problem. Not maybe even a problem, it's just the more dominant mindset, I would say. We lack a lot of that. America is an individualistic country. So to hear both your answers stem from, oh, it's the journey, these are the motivators,
Mm.
different and very refreshing.
But I definitely like want a Lamborghini.
What'd you say?
I definitely want a Lamborghini. Like it's mine. Like I'm
You're
gonna
not
be
sure?
driving the nice car.
And then we kind of tapped into this question earlier, but how would you guys define success? Career wise, life wise? What does that look like for you?
Just like being able to make and maintain and keep everyone around me happy, everyone that I care about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main thing. And also just I really just want to make my family proud, make my dad proud especially. He's done so much for us, so it's only right we pay him back by doing even more.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. Um, I also like really want a family,
Mm.
and like I need to do so much more to achieve that. I need to be a better person for sure. But also just like yeah, just career wise, just make other people happy, and like life is
Mm.
humongous. There's no limit, and there's no cap. Um, just like make the people around you happy and try to be as kind as possible. I love to share love. Like, what was that quote that we just read earlier, guys? The essence of the essence of life is like love. So just showing people love. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's success. I mean, having nice things is nice. Having that dream career you've always wanted is nice. And I'm like so fickle. My mind changes almost every day about like
Mhm.
money can't buy happiness. I think money could buy
Mhm.
me, I think to an extent, a lot of happiness.
There's a lot money can buy.
There's a
Yeah.
lot. Let's just be honest. If you
Yeah.
don't agree, you're a show off that you're lying. But truly though, there are things that you can't love, like genuine love, being loved by people, to show that kind of love. Like I would want this life, and that would be my success if I left this life knowing I was able to touch people and knowing that I really just lived my life. That's
Yeah,
success to
definitely.
me. I did what I wanted to do, no regrets kind of thing.
Mhm.
I think we all kind of agree on that.
Yeah.
My sister said lots of money and being happy, so
Yeah. I definitely want to touch people's lives.
yeah. And have you guys noticed any generational shifts in attitudes towards preserving like their cultural heritage? Or do you think most people are just kind of embedding themselves into like assimilating, getting comfortable into broader society instead of staying intact with their roots, cultural roots?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like. Yeah, I feel like. I want to say like a lot of people that I know, but most people that I do know, they try to stay like connected to their like roots, and like keep their cultural values correct. But like it is, a lot of it is influenced just by growing up here in America.
Mm-hmm.
We're very privileged compared to like a lot of the world, and we really do have it lucky here. But from what I've seen, yeah, I think a lot of my friends they still try to like stick to their roots kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
but in a way adapt to like their environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like this answer varies like anywhere you ask
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like living in America, I feel like
To me, it's a change in living in California.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know we're even though just California is still in America, but
California
it's
is
very different.
basically its own country here.
Yeah, very different compared to like
yeah,
the
Yeah.
East Coast, Midwest, that kind of
yeah.
thing.
And I hate to like relate culture and religion, but you know, in some ways they are very similar.
Mm.
And I feel like living here, you kind of lose religion, and you know, religion kind of holds your morals and your traditions intact. And yeah, it's kind of difficult living here with that in mind.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, me and Katie had such different stories, even though it was like the same upbringing, same parents,
Mhm.
same everything, same high school. I felt when I was her age, and it was like I kind of saw that and I saw myself in her when she was talking to me today. And she was saying how she felt like she doesn't have much roots, much ties left with her Korean heritage. She can't really speak Korean that well. She can understand, but to an extent, she's not like verbally using Korean if she's not around the family. And I was in the church much longer than she was. So she doesn't have any kind of religious ties, or, she doesn't feel fully Korean, but she's not white either, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And for me, it was similar in the way where growing up, I was extremely connected with the church, with my ties, because I had to. It was my first language. My parents were immigrants. And then you kind of transition into, like high school, middle school, where you kind of, exactly same deal as her. I didn't have kids to speak Korean with at school. Whatever crowd you get into, it's just not utilized as much. And then it's interesting because I feel like towards the end of high school, I was not like completely out of touch, but near there. Like I've evolved a lot. And I think in my adulthood, I really wanted to, like, if I'm gonna die today, I'm gonna die Korean. Like it really hit me one day that that's who I am. That's my identity. I identify as a Korean American. So, it was kind of like a reality check for me to be like, okay, like it's time to like hone in back to my roots. And then I prioritize that, and I'm really grateful to be back basically where I am now with my family, with my ties to my heritage. But I feel like exactly it's being a something American. It's like you have one foot in one world, you have both feet in both worlds, and you don't really know exactly where you stand, So that itself is such a difficult journey, finding your self identity. But yeah, generational shifts.
I like that. I like the way you said like you got one foot in one and then another in the other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're like kind of like a sinkhole. What do they call it? Like when you the mud that like goes down.
Sinkhole, no?
Cinco.
Is it a sinkhole?
Sink
so.
something sand, quicksand.
Quicksand. Yeah, it's like quicksand. So like
Mm-hmm.
if your foot is more heavy, in this culture, then you're gonna really dive deep and adapt to that kind of lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, I just went.
No,
Yeah,
it's like that's what's like nice about this. It's like you start with one thing and then you kind of just bounce off each other, And
Did I ask about a generational shift in that previous one?
mm-hmm.
Generational, how did it change generations?
I feel like we try to evolve even faster now because of how fast technology is.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we're trying to be like
Everything's so fast.
everything's so fast, and we get it so easily that it's you're not used
Everything's
to
so accessible.
yeah, you're not used to like a plant. If you watch a plant grow, it's not gonna just grow. We're all plants. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all just these creatures that just grow.
We need time to like
Yeah,
cultivate.
exactly.
Environment.
We water our own brain and our own bodies. And like you can't just like grow into this huge tree overnight. You have to slowly
You go,
Mhm.
grow
you go
into
through
it.
life.
Yeah.
So since we are all just growing little plants, hopefully one day wanting to be like a really big tree or whatever flower.
I'd probably be like a bonsai.
Okay, that's your end game. What's
Very
your
zen.
what's your bonsai? Like where do you hope to be
Uh-huh.
in that way? It doesn't even have to be like career success, like
Uh-huh.
as a person, goals, anything. What's your bonsai look like?
Me. I would want to be remembered. Uh like growing up I was always popular and I love that.
Homecoming
Yeah, homecoming king.
king.
I love that, you know, and I loved like making other people happy, and you know, I just wanted to always share my energy with the world, and I hope that never stops. I hope like I can help as many people as possible. Like one of my favorite things to do at work is like give things out for free. I know my dad. Don't. I hope he's not hearing this. Yeah, because like we are very different in that way. But like you know, just making someone's day can like you know it can change their whole mood and it can change everything. I want to be remembered as someone that's you know,
Touched
kind.
other
Yeah,
people.
I want to touch other people. Yeah,
Oh, he wants to touch other people.
yeah.
What's your plan? Tell us about your plan.
My plant. Uh, like I said earlier, my main goal is just I love, like he's kind of said, of just making everyone else around me happy.
Mhm.
As long as like they're happy, I'm happy. That's really my main thing. I really want a family, and just to keep passing down traditions.
I was gonna ask, you
Yeah.
guys planning on teaching your kids Arabic and
Yeah, I gotta get better at it first, for sure.
yeah.
I'm like halfway there. We're still learning, but that's the thing about life. You can learn everything. You learn something new every day.
Mhm.
Or learn
And
one
keep
And it's
learning,
never
keep
too
learning.
late too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Start going to school for Arabic.
I want to go too. Okay. Thanks for letting me
Oh, of
interview
course.
you
Thanks for having
guys.
us.
Yay.
We failed like 3 times. I was dying.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, yeah.
Thanks, guys.
That's the far right.